Hello, beautiful. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tracy, and today I want to talk about one of my favorite subjects, books. I feel like every time I say the word books, it has to come out like Winifred Sanderson. I really love books. So I used to do a monthly book review here on my channel, so I want to just bring that back. So today I'm going to talk about the books that I read in January or attempted to read. And I'm also going to talk about what I'm currently reading and what my TBR looks like for February. First, I do want to say that my reading goals for 2022 were just to read everything fun. I didn't want to read anything too serious, and so I kind of carried that over into 2023. But this year, I do want to read a little bit more elevated books. What I mean by that is I really read strictly for fun. I don't like books that are too much like real life. I don't want to be triggered by a book. I don't want a book to remind me of what's going on in my life or has gone on in my life. So I'm really particular about just having fun with books. And if a book doesn't resonate with me, I don't force myself to finish it. I absolutely DNF it. There are too many books in the world for me to be wasting a bunch of time on one book. I can just be on to the next one. In the words of Jay-Z, we on to the next one. So I wanted to tell you guys that. And I read a wide range of books. My absolute favorite genre will always be cozy mysteries. And I like them a little bit more recently because they are really diversifying. I have one I want to talk about today. I can't wait to talk about this book. This one cozy mystery really was like, I need to bring back doing book videos. I got to tell somebody about this book. So anyway, I want to start off with, another thing about me is I don't like to own a lot of books. I like to get them from the library and listen to audiobooks, which are also through the library, or I'll listen to audiobooks on YouTube. So my goal for this calendar year, in addition to reading a little bit more elevated books, is also to read down my collection. I personally feel like I have too many books in my collection. I just want to have a very curated amount of books, and I want to have books for very specific reasons that mean something to me. So I don't just want to have a ton of books in my home. That's not something that I want to collect. I collect many things, but I don't want to collect books. So in an attempt to read down the books I already have, I pulled out Copycat by Kimberly Lawson Roby. Kimberly Lawson Roby is one of my favorite authors. I love, y'all know what I'm finna say if y'all know about Kimberly Lawson. Y'all know I'm finna talk about Reverend Curtis Black. Come on now. Y'all know that is one of the greatest series, one of the greatest characters ever written in a book. I haven't read all of the Curtis Black series by no means because there's so many I've lost track, but they're on my list for this calendar year. But I love the author Kimberly Lawson Roby. This book, I don't remember the names of the two people in this book, so I'm gonna have A and B. So A goes to a hair salon and she sees an author that she admires. B. So A is an aspiring author herself. She connects with author B. They have like a little moment of mutual, hey girl, yeah, I got you, call me up, I'd love to have you out situation, like, like we do when we go to the hair salon. I DNF'd this book. Okay, so I actually DNF'd this book twice. I tried to read this book last year and I just couldn't get past chapter 1. So I thought this year I'm gonna pull up the audiobook. So I went onto Libby and I pulled up the audiobook and I started listening to it and I made it to chapter 4. I don't like this book. This book makes me feel uncomfortable. So B is already the author, right? A is aspiring to be B. So she starts to buy clothes like her. In the moment B starts talking about her husband and how much she loves her husband, I immediately shut down and I just thought, I don't want to read this book. I don't want to read it. So this is in my pile to donate. I will not be reading this book. I will not finish reading this book. I don't even care what happens anymore with the characters. I'm just not interested. DNF. Another book that was on my shelf, I got this from my friend Rachel. This is the Meryl Streep Movie Club. I actually thought I had read this book years ago, but I pulled it out the other day because basically I pulled both these books out because they were blue. And for me, blue represents January, and I thought this would be a fun way to read down the books in my home. It's kind of like doing them in themes, like seasonal living, like different colors. And so I pulled this out and I was like, I thought I had read this book. I was like, why is it still on my shelf? I thought I had read this book. I actually think I started reading this book several years ago and stopped and just thought I'll go back to it. I just wasn't interested in it in that time. So I go back to it this month and I'm reading it. So this is by Mia March. This is actually a good book. I DNF'd it. It's not a bad book. It just cannot hold my attention. And it's been some years since I've read this book. So this is about two sisters and a cousin. And so what happens, the book opens with, it's New Year's Eve. And there's a couple at home, mom and dad. They have a daughter and they have two nieces. Well, the parents of the two nieces are out at a New Year's Eve party and they're drunk, so they call the dad of the couple that's at home to come pick them up, and they're all killed in a car accident. So it leaves the aunt to now raise her own daughter by herself, and the two daughters to her two nieces by herself. And so it kind of goes from that night, jumps to many, many years later when they're all adults and living different lives. I thought I really was trying to make it through this book because it kept reminding me of the book Summer Sisters by Judy Blume, which I really, really enjoyed. But you guys, I just could not make it through this book. I love the premise of this book. I love the fact that the aunt really kind of is having a hard time connecting with her daughter and her nieces because she's lost her husband too, and now she has a business that she has to run, which is an inn. She owns like a bed and breakfast. Then she has these two girls and her own daughter, and it's just a lot going on with the aunt. And so she's not a reclusive, but she kind of shells or kind of goes into her shell because she's going through things herself. And the daughters, the girls are trying to figure her out. It's kind of all weird. So she really comes alive after she watches Meryl Streep's in different movies, and the different movies kind of parallel what she has going on. See, that's a great premise, right? I couldn't get through it. I don't know why. It's actually interesting. And before I started talking to you guys and I pulled these books out and I was like, what do I want to say about this book specifically? It just did not hold my attention. I don't care what happens to the characters. I think that's the biggest thing for me, the reason I DNF'd it. I was like, they started going through different things, but I was like, I don't care. I just don't care. So I DNF'd that one too. The first physical copy of a book I read this year, this in the month of January, I got from the library. My friend Michelle had given me the copy of the book A Lot Like Adios. One thing about me, I love series. I love to get to grow with the characters of a book. Even if the series is kind of boring, I'll still go with the series because I think that just kind of growing with characters in a book is so fun. So she gave me the book A Lot Like Adios. And so I knew there was one before A Lot Like Adios, and it was You Had Me At Hola. So these two books are by Alexis Daria or Alexa Daria. I'll put her name here on the screen. And this book was so stinking cute and so stinking fun, and I love the fact that it was set like in a telenovela. So you actually, I guess you could say this book had a dual timeline because you had the real life that was going on with them, and once they started filming the telenovela, you got to be a part of that. And the way the author really wrote the scene is it really felt like you were watching them in real lives and then watching a telenovela. It was a little bit of smut in this book, but not uncomfortable. There was no love triangle. there was just like a little misunderstanding trope, but it wasn't angsty because I don't, a lot of times when I'm reading a romance novel, I get just like, ugh, I don't want them to go through angst. I just want people to communicate. And this is kind of how this was. And I was leaning toward giving this book 3 stars. While I was reading it, I was loving it. It was really good. But what made me bump it up to 4 stars is the epilogue. You guys, the way she tied this book up, the way she, did I even tell y'all what it was about? Let me tell you, I don't remember the characters' names, so I will look them up and put them here because this was an audio book for me. No, this was a physical book, but I got it from the library, so I'll just put the characters' names here. So the girl is about to start a new job, a new telenovela. She's dating a guy who's kind of a rock star. The guy is called by paparazzi with another woman out of town and say that they broke up. She didn't realize that. So she goes into this new telenovela that's supposed to be put out by a production company called Screenflix, which is like Netflix. And they already had the person that she was going to be her leading man. She had already met him and they had a chemistry read and everything went really well. And then he had gotten into an accident and he couldn't do it. So they got a whole nother person that she never met before, and she had to meet him on the very first day. And when the very first day that she met him, he spilled his coffee on her. And it was just really kind of love at first sight, but I loved the male character in this book because he had so much going on. It was really holding him back from being the best person that he could be, and he was really trying not to get involved with his co-worker, but it just all happened, and there were so many little pieces and nuances. It was a lot about family, both of their families, his family and her family, and this was the sweetest book. This was so sweet. I hope that a lot like Adios is very similar to this. I don't necessarily care if this is the same characters. I have a feeling it's going to be because there are 3 cousins that this book was about. The prima something, I can't remember like what their prima power or prima something, which means cousins. And so there were 3, so I'm thinking there will probably be 3 books in this series, which would be truly fun. But you guys, this was so sweet and so cute. This is one of those books that you smiled while you were reading it, and you kind of root for the character, and you were like, oh dude, just open up, she's good, people. It was really like that kind of book for me. I really enjoyed. Okay, I did not write the author name down for this book. I didn't write the author name down for any of this book. I'm gonna get better at this. I'm a little rusty today. Like I said, it's my first time talking about books on a specific video in a long time, but okay. So, Magic, Lies, and Murder Pies. This is labeled as a cozy mystery. You guys, this is unlike any cozy mystery I've ever read. Okay, if you think about cozy mystery, you're not sure what it is, and you know the TV show Murder, She Wrote, or if you know Miss Marple, or if you know Poirot, these are all cozy mysteries where you know there's a dead body. The body may have been shot, the dead might be stabbed, but there's no gore involved. You can kind of read it in a day, sitting by a fire or sitting at the beach. These are not gory or difficult or hard. They're light murders, right? And it's usually a white woman who lived in a small town, moved to a big town. Her husband did something to her. She come back to a small town just to get some rest. She has some animals. She works at a coffee shop. She works at a bakery. They're just like, it doesn't matter who wrote them. They're pretty much all the same. Until we get to Magic, Lies, and Murder Pies. I've never read a cozy mystery like this before in my life. I think I gave it 4 stars. I can't remember. I'll pop it up on the screen. And I also link my Goodreads in the description box below. Listen, this was freaking wild. And I have been reading cozy mysteries over 20 years. Okay. This one was obviously written by a feminist. Daisy Ellery, I think is the main character's name, is very prissy. She's very girly. She has these really frou-frou dresses. She will put you in the mind of a conventional 1940s, 1950s housewife. And she bakes pies for a living. She sells them for a living. She doesn't have her own bakery, but she sells them in a restaurant. She doesn't like to stay in one town too long because she has a secret. I'm gonna tell y'all the secret. I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm not gonna spoil this book for you, but I'm gonna tell you what the secret is, okay? The secret is that she has magic. She can infuse into her pies to potentially kill someone if they are a bad person. So she dresses down in grunge and she goes to meetings where women are abused, and she kills men with her pies. And she has a few rules. She does not kill women. And now she's being blackmailed by someone who wants her to kill a woman. And when you find out who is actually blackmailing her, you be like, what? How's she gonna get out of this? And there is not really a love triangle, but there is a woman that's interested in her and she's interested in the woman. And there's a man that's interested in her and she's interested in the man. These are mostly white characters, but there is a Hispanic character and a black character thrown in. This was wow. I think I liked this book because I kind of agree with her. Y'all. I cannot wait for the second book to release. Listen, I cannot wait to just go with these series and see how the series of this book and see how it goes. And you guys, I found this audiobook on YouTube. I'm gonna try to find the one that I listened to and link it for you in the description box below. This was the most fascinating cozy mystery I have ever read. So the next book is Fake It Till You Bake It. Did I write the author name down? No, but I will put it here on the screen for you. I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing in this video. This was so stinking cute. I had so much fun listening to this. I listened to it during the work week on Libby. I was putting my earpods in. I have earbuds. I was putting my earbuds in every chance I got because I couldn't wait to hear what was coming next with this book. I loved it so much. So there is a young lady who goes on a reality TV show very similar to The Bachelor. She gets to the end of the TV show and she's chosen by the man. And then she turns him down. And in TV world, this creates a huge scandal. This is a big deal. But the girl just wants to go and just hide away. She doesn't want to talk about it. She turned him down because it didn't feel right. So as you get to know her character, you know that she comes from money and that she has a trust fund, and she also has dyslexia, and she is confident in her looks but not in her ability. She feels really stupid in her family, which causes her to not feel the best about herself, and she's just having a hard time finding a job, keeping a job. She doesn't know what she wants to do, and she's going through all these things. So her girlfriend tries to cheer her up, and she takes her to a bakery, and she walks into the bakery and it's kind of drab, and she starts going in on the decor and talking about how these cupcakes could not be this good because she is still a prissy woman, right? And so there's a man, he hears her talking, and he was like confronts her about talking about his cupcakes. He's not finna have it. He's a big dude because he's a football player. So it's a football player, and two of his buddies opened a bakery in San Diego, and he was like, can't be talking smack about my cupcakes and all this kind of stuff. And it goes on from there. So he is having problems with his business. It's not going as well as he thought it was was going to go, and the numbers not looking good. So he decides that he's going to go talk to the owner of the football team that he plays for, because she's always been really good to him, and he really trusts her business sense because she has an NFL team as a black woman when no one wanted a woman in NFL, especially not a black woman. So he goes to talk to her. She gives him some good advice, and she goes, by the way, my granddaughter is having some problems. Could you find her a job? And he was like, for you? Of course, yes. And who walks in? Who is the granddaughter? You guessed it. The same woman he had this encounter with in his bakery. He was like, hold up. Hold up, hold up, hold up. So this has a fake dating trope. They decide that they want to fake date because she's having so many problems with coming off the show, and he wants to fake date her because he realizes it's good having her around for his business. So it goes from there. It wasn't one of those fake dating though that makes you feel uncomfortable like the other person was hiding something. Once again, I have a problem with romance novels with a huge misunderstanding trope. So I love them as a couple because they were just so honest with one another. Whenever anything happened, they told the other person, and technically they were not a couple because they were fake dating. I loved this book so much for that. I just thought it was so well written, and all the characters had such rich background to them. It was just so much fun. And so I already strongly feel that there's going to be a second book in this series, and it's going to be about one of the other football players. This series could go either way. It could go where it'd be about the girl and her friends, or the guy and his friends. It feels a little bit like the Jasmine Gullery wedding series. It feels a little bit like that. So this was such a good book. Can't remember what I rated it on Goodreads, but I'll leave it here. But yeah, it was so good. I enjoyed this one so much. This was an audiobook for me as well. Good morning. I was editing this video and I was about to upload it, and I thought something is missing. Let me just sleep on it for a minute. And I woke up this morning, double checked Goodreads, and realized I did not tell you guys about The Bullet That Missed by Richard Osman. It is the third installment of the Thursday Murder Club. The Thursday Murder Club are 4 people that live in a retirement village in the UK. They are in their 70s, and they look into old unsolved murders to try to solve them. And it's Elizabeth, Ron, Joyce, and Ibrahim. They get into all sorts of shenanigans. If you like cozy mysteries, and if you like British television, this is absolutely the series for you. I would highly suggest you reading it in order, because the characters build over time and they collect people along the way. And this particular book was about Elizabeth and Stephen were on their evening walk, and Elizabeth is hit over the head, and she and Stephen are kidnapped and taken to this man who requires Elizabeth to kill someone for him. Elizabeth has a past. No one is quite sure if she was an MI5, MI6, if she was an operative in the past, but Elizabeth has quite a colorful past. So this person knows that Elizabeth has the ability to kill someone without being traced. So he tells her that if she doesn't kill this person, that he's going to kill Joyce, which is Elizabeth's best friend and one of the members of the Thursday Murder Club. And while this is going on, they're also trying to solve a murder, like a missing person that has never been found, and they don't exactly know that she was a newscaster, and so she was working on a big story, and all of a sudden she turns up missing. So they really feel that it has something to do with the story, so they are in pursuit of that as well. This book, I was smiling so much while I started off reading this book. I started it actually on Christmas Eve, But with the holidays and the festivities, it was just so busy. I didn't get to finish it before I had to return it to the library. So I ended up checking it out through Libby as an audiobook like a week or two later. And I just had so much fun listening to it. There is a little bit of romance, but not romance in a way where it takes away from the story or it is focused on the romance at all. A couple of the characters get together, which really surprised me even excuse me, in the first book. It was a little bit surprising. Chris and Donna are the two police officers that the Thursday Murder Club ropes into all of their stuff. See, I remember the names of all these characters because I'm growing with them. I'm watching them grow. So they each have a romance. Chris has one in the other book, and then Donna has one in this book, and who she has her romance with was so shocking to me. I was like, what? I was shocked and happy, and I started smiling. I was like, wait, I did not see this coming. It's just so super cute. Let me know if you've read any of the Thursday Murder Club or if it's on your TBR. It's just such a cute, I'm so in love with this series. I just love it so much, and I'm excited for the 4th installment. So I'll throw you back into the video. So what I'm currently reading is Bring Me Back by B.A. Paris. I wanted to talk about this book in this video because this is my bookmark. I want to talk about this book in this video because I did start in January, just haven't finished it. I started this last Wednesday, which I think was, actually that was February. I think last Wednesday was the first day of February. Well, here we are. I'm gonna talk about it anyway. So I picked this up, and you guys, this book is so intriguing. This is set in the UK. So it starts off, this is a dual timeline book as well. So it starts off with the guy 12 years prior at the French police station. His girlfriend has just gone missing. But that's not the whole truth. So he's lying about something. He has a bad temper. So it fast forward to 12 years later, and she has been declared legally dead, and he has moved on. He's in a new relationship with her sister. And he gonna marry the sister. He was gonna marry her 12 years ago, but now he gonna marry the sister. And he has a severe anger management problem. I don't know what happened, but I want to know what happened. So this is the book I'm currently reading. So this we'll put this in the category of February TBR. This is a good book. This is a good book. I can't wait to finish this because if it disappoints me, I'm gonna be pissed. Read this month is an audiobook that I actually started the other day. This is Must Love Books by Shauna Robinson. I really liked the book and what it was about. I loved where the book was heading, but I did not like the narrator. I did not like the person reading the book in the audiobook, so I immediately just stopped listening to it and went and ordered it from the library. So I just picked it up today. So this is about a young lady who loves books. She has a job at a publishing company where she thought she was going to be a copywriter, but she ends up just being a secretary, and she is having a terrible time. And she's just encountered there's an author in the office this particular day. She's encountered him, and she's feeling something about him. She's just not sure what she's feeling, and she's brought into her manager's office, and they're cutting her pay. And it's just not going well at this publishing company where she is. And so from what I read about the synopsis, she ends up going to a rival publishing company, and she's working for both at the same time. I think that's what's happening. But this is the book that I'm going to be reading in February as well. So we have Bring Me Back by B.A. Paris and Must Love Books by Shauna Robinson. So I have two more books I want to show you. This one is The Other Black Girl, and this is by Zakaya Delilah Harris. This is I have no idea what this is about. This says Other Black Girl, and it's an Afro comb. So we're gonna read it. That's it. A lot of times that's all I need. And this is The Other Side of Murder by S.J. Boyce. I have a whole story to tell you about this book. I'm not gonna tell you now. I'm gonna wait till I finish it. I actually started this book pretty much the moment I got it, and I DNF'd it on page 92, chapter 8. I'm gonna finish this book. I told the author that I would finish this book. I met her at a birthday party. I already had the book. I'm not gonna tell you all that whole story right now. Basically what happens in this book, I don't remember the main character's name right now, but she is at a conference out of town and she meets this guy and they have a relationship. And then he works for the company, so they keep their relationship hush hush. Like, he works at a firm out of town, so they keep their relationship hush hush. So then she is really good friends with the owner's son. The owner's son is staying in her house for a couple of days. I think he likes her, but she's like not interested in him. I guess she doesn't want any favoritism from him or whatever. And so I DNF'd this book because it was too real. Remember last year I didn't want to read anything real, anything that was close to real life, and there were some things that happened in here that felt too close to real life. And that's literally the only reason I DNF'd it. The book was good. It was interesting. I enjoyed reading it. The character development, I loved. I knew something was off with dude. I just didn't know what was off with dude. When I found out it was off with dude, I was like, oh, did not see that coming. But then I met one character and I DNF'd it. I will tell you the conversation I had with the author later. Whoa, girl. Okay. That is all I have for you today. We got it done before the sun went down. Yay. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, beautiful.